time to see if we can get some slots cut. So I'll just wipe the oil off this. All three of these are now done. Just take the oil off so they sit flat. I'll show you what we've got to cut. So what we're going to try and do today is, you see these slots in here, look. That one, the main slot underneath. So that's what we've got to do. I managed to find my old slot cutter. I hope this camera will pick it up. Come on. And I've done my best to sharpen it. Now whether it's going to work or not, we'll find out shortly. But it's got relief on the back, and I've just literally kissed the edges, as you can see. So we'll give that a whirl and see where we get to with that. I think before we put that on, we'll just have a wander up and down with the dial indicator and just a test indicator, just see where we're at. So I won't bore you with this. All I'm going to do is run up and down this middle and make sure that we're true to the world, so to speak, and then we'll have a look. That's a half bar gauge, that is. There's about a thou in that, isn't there, over 14 inches. Which I can live with. I think there's less than that now, so anyway, right, so we know that we're going to keep that trough as it is. We don't have to do any more to that. I'll put a good old faithful, I'll tell you what I've got to do, I've just got to work out how fast I'm going to spin this. So what my plan's going to be is I've got my mister rigged up on the mill here now. So I'm literally going to put a piece of paper underneath that, zero it to the bottom of the trench, to the bottom of this slot, and then however thick the paper is when it's touching, I'll drop it down that. We'll touch off on the inside. On the inside, we have to go across 198mm. So 198. That's the step in we've got. What we'll maybe do is, let's see, so say it's 2, so 198 divided by 4. Yeah, we can go in at 49 thou on the first pass and see how that goes, and then if that cuts alright, we'll drop each one in at that. See how we go. It's whether this cutter's going to stand up to the job, innit? That's the thing. So, but I ain't gonna know till we get started, Alice. Right, I'll just get a bit more set up and then we'll start cutting. Right, I think we're ready to give it a whirl. Touched off on the back, touched off on the bottom. I'm going to go in 30 thou on the cut. We've got the air connected up. I'm running about 400 revs. So we'll see how that goes. Just bring in a bit of fat. Pretty good, pretty good. I don't know whether that's too fast or... 50 thou. Must be eating the chips because I haven't seen it yet. Oh, there we go. I don't know whether the RPM could be a bit quick, I'm not sure. I worked it out and it said about 450, 430, something like slow things down a bit. That's down by half, that's 200 revs now. We're doing about 230 revs now. Bit different to using carbide, isn't it? By the way, the carbide, the milling cutter I was using to do this, I did turn the inserts around after that first one, and then I machined the next two blocks. I'm still on the same corners of the insert. What I did on the third block, I was taking cuts of, I think, instead of trying to take deep cuts, I was taking 60,000 deep, but I was increasing the feed rate. I had the water mister going, and with the increased feed rate and that, what it seemed to do was help evacuate the chips out of the way. You know, with a faster feed rate, that helped ping them out of the way, so to speak. So it went quite well. It didn't take long knocking that lot out, actually. That's the compressor just fired up. It'll be a long old job. 4 passes on each side of that. As I say, I could look for a carbide piece lock with it. It's quite expensive and I've really got time. There's soluble cutting oil in there, by the way, it's not just water. Well, it's doing it, boys, but it's just ain't very steady. We'll just keep going, that's all we can do. I'm just having a look while this is doing this on the internet, just see if I can get another cutter ordered. That did run through, and what I did, I set it up in the dividing head in the collet chuck on the surface grinder. 14 teeth on that. That was how I sharpened it up. But they never do seem to cut on the full circumference as they're working. Splitting saw blades are the same. Because I haven't got one to compare it with, I don't know if that's cutting really well or about what it should be. It's 50 thou deep now, so it's taking a bit of a wedge out there, isn't it? But I think looking just at the chips, they're not quite crisp how I'd like them right now. Like I say, we'll keep going, see where we get to. I think we need to get some new cutters, boys. As my dear old mum would say, I may have sharpened it, but I think you could ride bare arse to London on that and not have a problem. if it would just last to do one block, that'd be alright. Yeah, I'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I took it out, I've had it back on the surface grinder, see if I can sharpen it up a bit better. I've done a bit of good. Cutting more evenly now. I don't think we're going to get all three out of it though. So if I get this one, like I said, I'll be doing well. Just leave the video in for now. You can see what I'm doing. I might pick it up again with this when I get the other cutters here. We'll have to see. Well, we're getting through it, so. Considerably better than it was 10 minutes ago anyway. Right chaps, we appear to be knackered. Cutters give up. So I can't really do anything now. Nearly got that side done, and I was halfway up, well, 3/4 of the way up this other side, and decided to give up the ghost. So we'll give everything a wipe down with some oil, because in here it won't last 5 minutes before it goes bright red. On the back of the glass. So we will now just have to wait until we get some cutters delivered, which is yeah, right royal pain in the arse, but what do you do? Anyway, that should stop it from rusting, so I'll have to re-zero it up when we come back. So when we get the cutters, we'll re-zero it, find centre, and I'll need to go, well, with that other cutter it was 358 thou off of centre either way, so bit of a bugger, but these things happen, don't they? Right, see what happens in the future. See you in a bit. Okay, with a slight deviation from where we were. We were cutting the slots, these, but what's happened is the slot cutter I'm using to do these is an old one I've had for a very long time. It was actually a second-hand one when I got it. The other load of tool holders I made for my other lathe, the Bantam, it cut all those slots, so it's done a lot of work. I did sharpen it the other day when I started to do the block, as you saw earlier in the video, but it's give up the ghost. I've tried to sharpen it again, and it's not having it anymore. It's going to the land of slot cutters, as they say. So anyway, in the meantime, what I thought we'd do, well, I've nodded the head back, as you can tell by the angle of that. We're going to cut these slots here both sides. Obviously when we cut that one, when we cut that one, we're automatically going to cut that one, because the cutter is going to be at 45-degree angle, yeah. And then what we'll do, we'll drop on the back before, when we've done this one, I'll spin the block round. We'll do this one so they both match. Then what I'll do, I'll move the piece of the work out a little bit further on the table, come in, catch this back edge, then spin the work round, do this one, nip up, do that little bit there because there's a bit there to break off on that inside, and then we'll flip it around and do that, and then that leaves us these slots to carry on and do to get finished. So can you see that dial indicator? Let me just see, just bring you in a little bit. Let's show up there. Right, I'm just gonna, it's a bit difficult to do this one-handed, but we'll give it a go. So, right, that's at 0. So 5-inch sine bar, and all you basically do is get the sine of the 45-degree angle, should I say, because that's what this is. I can't remember what it was now, 707 something or other. Anyway, it gave me a gauge block stack out of 1.535, I believe it was, which I've made up underneath there with gauge blocks. And then I've been adjusting the head backwards and forwards until I've got it close enough to what I'm happy with. So we start at 0 there. Look. We've dropped by half a thou, but this gauge has a habit of doing that. Look, even when you move it, so it's half thou there, and it's staying at half thou. So for me, that's good enough. So, like I say, that's the 5-inch sine bar, and that's my stack of gauge. My gauge blocks, they don't they don't ring together because they're really worn, but they will have to do. So what we'll do now, the head's at 45 degrees where we want it. I've got a couple of parallels already in the vise, ready to go. Bring you around a little bit. So what I'm going to do, one parallel in there, to the one in there, clean this tool block off. This tool holder is a brand new one. It came with my machine, it was still in the box, so I've been using this one now to take pretty much my measurements from, and it's a bison one, so I'm hoping it's going to be pretty good. So I'm going to stick that on there like that. Make sure that we're all on the same. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down the back side to here with let me bring the thing over with it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the tool tip down. I'm going to bring the tool down, I'm going to sit it on the back of this block here, right in that V. I've thought about how I could measure this block and then figure out some other way of doing it, and for the life of me, I'll be straight with you boys, I cannot figure out how to measure it. I can put a gauge pin in here, which I have done, and I can get a measurement from the bottom of the tool holder. Well, you can't see there, can you? So yeah, I can put I think it was about a 6mm gauge pin in there, dowel pin. So then I can measure from the bottom to the top of the pin, which I could transfer that measurement to that block. But I've got no way of, because I'm coming in at 45, I can't think of how I'm supposed to measure it to come smack in. So what I'm doing, if you imagine that this is facing the back of the machine now, that tool, I'm bringing it down until we're nearly touching the back, nearly touching the bottom, and I'm doing some fine adjusting with a 2 thou feeler gauge underneath it until we're just touching the feeler gauge, and then I'm popping it out, and that seems to be as good as I'm going to get it, I think. I'd be interested to see what you guys think about any other way of measuring it, but I can't think of anything else to do with it. So when I made the ones for the bantam item, my other old milling machine, it wouldn't, the head wouldn't nod, and I had it in some 45 degree V blocks like that, and that's all I did. I brought it down, touched off on the top, zeroed the quill and everything on the other machine, and then just machined them to suit. but this is different now because we've got them in one block. So anyway, we'll get it set up and I'll get this back in there. Well, in a minute anyway, when I finish the cup of tea, and then hopefully next thing you'll be seeing is some chips flying. I'm going to try and set you up over that side somewhere, see if you can see down the back side here, and then we'll go. I put the other part up yesterday. I saw some of the comments, and you know, thank you very much, Bob Dickson. If you're watching this, you're an absolute star, mate. I will show those 2 dial indicators that you sent me. They're Bob Dickson sent me a Mitutoyo metric DTI gauge and a Moore and Wright metric DTI gauge, and he's given them the once over, and I really appreciate Bob. They appreciate it, Bob. They look absolutely spot on, mate. Just the job. I'll get them. In fact, they're that good, Bob, I don't want to use them. But I will. Right, so we'll get set up and have a go. Right. We're all set up, ready to go. Vice is tight down. I've got, not falling off the ceiling. I have, pardon me, I've got 100 thou depth of cut on, so we'll see how we go. We've got to go down about 400 thou, so I'll get started and we'll see where we're looking with the camera and that, and then we'll alter things as we go along. I've had to move the camera around, boys, because the handle on the table is going to crash into it. Again, what I'll do when it gets to the end of here, I'll bring it back and start at this end again. I'll put another 100 thou on it and we'll see where we get to. Pass Right, just been shouting in for my dinner, so I'll go and have my dinner and then come back out and do some more. Right, side 2. That's 100th thou as well. Focus. See the first side we've done. Keep wazzing up and down till we get that to the same. Like I said before, put a slight chamfer on there and there, and then we're just going to do these 2 outer edges. After this, and then yeah, there's 50 thou left after this pass, so I'll take another 45 after this, and then just a real quick 5 thou down it. And it tends to leave us a better finish. So anyway, that's the plan. Right, that's that done. Take that edge off the back there. Trouble is you can't see it cutting, can you? Oh, that's alright. Neither can I. we're doing now, they're purely decorative more than anything else, because we're just forming that there up. What we're doing is this outside cut, but it doesn't do anything, it's just a decorative thing. But we'll make them look the same as the other then. Let this one get to the end, then I'll spin it round to the other side. Just a quick clean up cut down that back edge, just tidy it up, and then we'll do the same in the front. That's it, flip round. Do the same on the other side now. Little burr on there, but pardon me, nothing that won't come off with a stone now. Get this one done, then 2 more left to do. The only thing is, I can't test them on the tool post because we haven't got the slots cut in the middle, so I'm going to take the chance and machine the other 2 blocks up, put all the angles in and hope I'm right, because I won't know until I go and try and put it on the tool holder. And if I balls it up, then that'll be 3 blocks in the bin and a very, very pissed off out. But fingers crossed there. Now, just for a quick finish pass on that back edge, and then we'll do these 2 inner ones then. £65 to take off each of those inner edges there to get just that bit there up. Come on, focus you. Focus, come on. That's the bit we're doing now. That bit there, where my finger is. 65 thou to take off in one pass, and then just a quick flick back 5 thou just to clean it up. Do this side, flip it round in the vise, do the other side, and that's this one finished. That's the one we've been looking for on this block. That'll be the last pass. There she blows. Take these burrs off the edges. Shouldn't take that much skin off. I meant to say, when I started, if you'd have noticed that I'd machined a slot down each side, I knew that there was like a 250,000 square to come out on the top of each corner, and I thought while I was waiting I'll just run the mill down there and whip them out, because it's a bit less to do when I come to do this. So that was the only reason. That's just taking that burr off there all the way down. There's a bit of rag. Take it off the inside. Top. Just a bit off there. That's pretty much it, as quick as that. There's a little bit of a burr left on that inner one, but we'll get that when it's off. So, let's see what we look like, shall we? Bring that over there a bit. I don't think we're looking bad at that. That's not bad at all. Yeah. You see these particular ones, look, when these have been machined at Bison, they have been ground fairly aggressively. That inner surface hasn't been ground, neither has that. But these, the bits that we've just machined, they've been ground. Oh no, those outside bits haven't. Only that, but I'm not going to bother grinding them anyway. They're going to stay just as they are at that, I think. So, I will get the other two done off camera, because there's no point in showing you that, is there? You've seen how we get to there, so now we've just got to put these slots in. As you can see, this is the one I started with, and my slot cutter give up the ghost, so this will get, I'm going to deburr it before I go in the house now, so it's finished. Then that'll get put back in. As soon as my cutters are here, that indexable milling cutter's doing well, I must admit. As soon as the woodruff key cutters get here, we'll get back on that and then get them slots cut. Then we'll know if it fits the tool post alright. Then we'll chop them into different sections. We've got a lot of drilling and tapping to do. And then, like I was saying before, we'll machine the middles out to suit whatever tools we decide to put in them. So, right, we'll see you on the next one.